Want to get this briefing by email? Here's the sign up. Good morning. Here's what you need to know. Europe closed what may be its most shameful chapter of bloodletting since World War II. After a trial that lasted years, the Bosnian Serb warlord Ratko Mladic, 75, was sentenced to life in prison by a UN tribunal. He was convicted of war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity in the slaughter of Bosnian Muslims during the breakup of Yugoslavia. Above, celebrating the sentence in Srebrenica, where 8,000 men and boys were executed by Mr. Mladic's forces. Our reporters note that European nationalist passions are once again on the rise. In an op-ed, a journalist who covered the Bosnian War says Mr. Mladic's conviction was too long in coming and sends a discouraging message to victims of conflicts in Syria, Zimbabwe, Yemen, and elsewhere. Will Mr. Mladic's verdict, 22 years in the making, inspire hope that justice can be delivered fairly and without delay? I think not. The UN command is demanding to meet with officials of the North Korean People's Army, accusing its troops of violating the truce that halted the Korean War when they fired on and chased a defecting comrade across the border last week. South Korean cameras recorded the escape. And North Korea called the Trump administration's imposition of new punishments restoring the North to the U.S. list of terrorism sponsors and yet more sanctions a serious provocation. In the U.S., the death of an American who had been held in harsh conditions by the North in 2010 raised concerns that he had committed suicide. Security forces in Papua New Guinea stormed a controversial detention center on Manus Island, in an attempt to end a standoff that has drawn international scrutiny to Australia's refugee policy. The authorities destroyed belongings in the men's shelters and announced that the men had to leave for alternative facilities on the island. The camp was officially closed on October 31, with electricity, food and water being cut off as hundreds of asylum seekers refused to leave. Left, a photo taken by a refugee on Manus Island and released by an Australian activist group. The Times recently sent journalists to visit the Manus Island camp as well as the new facilities the men are supposed to move to. Damien Cave, our Australia bureau chief, shared more photos and stories from that trip. The Trump administration formally declared that Myanmar's brutal crackdown on its Rohingya Muslim minority constituted ethnic cleansing. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the designation was made after careful and thorough analysis of the facts. The move opens the door to sanctions against the country's military and intensifies pressure on Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, its embattled civilian leader. The Rohingya crisis will come under additional scrutiny next week, when Pope Francis visits Myanmar and Bangladesh. Affordable housing featured prominently in Britain's annual budget presentation. In his address, Philip Hammond, above, Chancellor of the Exchequer, also announced lower growth forecasts and promised £3 billion for Brexit preparations. The Trump Organization is exiting a luxury condominium hotel in the Soho neighborhood of Manhattan that has struggled to attract guests.